You know, it's like it's too overwhelming. It's like turn down the volume. So they went to the BP route now with me.
Yeah, they know you too well. They don't want you to freak out too much, sounds like. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating. Now, listen, we're coming up to the top of the hour here. We're not going to take a break at this point, but I'm going to explain to my Facebook chat room that I'm going to cut off the air now from Facebook so that they can go back to nightdreamstalkradio.com and listen to the theater of their mind as we talk with Kathleen-Werstien about the strange and interesting experience that she has been writing about in this book called Guiding Kathy. And I think I like the way you've done that, Kathy, with the informal name, in the title of the book rather than your full name. And I would imagine there's probably a reason you did that as well, because of, what is it, very informal, kind of feeling that you get from these guardian angels, potentially?
Well, yes, I get very informal feelings from them, but the reason why I go by Kathy normally, and the reason why I put Kathleen is because originally my book was a screenplay.
Oh.
And, yeah, that was the first and only time I attempted a screenplay, which I may go back to the screenplay version of my book. And so I took the book and I used the screenplay as a foundation, but getting back to the screenplay, I had it copyrighted, and it went through with my formal name as Kathleen-Werstien. So I kept that to keep those two together, my copyright and my name, along with the title. Actually, the title originally was Imprint.
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's, in the book, by the way, there's an actual imprint of a spirit. Of somebody who has passed, there's an imprint of that person in my book. A picture of it.
Another a photograph or a picture. Was it a rendering or was it a photograph?
Photograph.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Is that photograph or that spirit something that's personal to yourself, or was it just someone that someone gave you a photograph?
Oh, yeah. No, somebody very near and dear to me passed, and they came. Yeah, they came to visit me one night and came through my bedroom screen apparently, and left an imprint on the screen when they came through it.
Oh, yeah. My goodness! And so, in other words, this would be the photograph of a screen on a window that could. And I've heard this. I've heard of these kinds of things where even spirits can leave imprints into glass, for instance. Of some kind of almost a negative image, and those kinds of things. But I've never heard of the idea of a screen image in a window screen, which sounds very plausible, and that would be fascinating to see.
Yeah, probably the screen was so dirty when the person went through it, just left the imprint.
yeah, or clean that part of the screen when it went through.
yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating stuff. Well, okay, so now you've explained to us about the guardian angels kind of taking care of you and your being protected. And basically kind of being guided in a certain area when you kind of got off the path, I suppose, but with free will as well given to you. What's the next part of the story?
Well, the next part of the story is the person, I married for the third time, and that person, while we were newlyweds, passed.
Oh, gosh.
And then my story turned very paranormal after that person passed.
Dealing with potentially that person's spirit or just paranormal in general terms?
Oh, with that person, yes.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
if you like, let's get into some of those ideas. People, I would imagine, have many, many experiences just like that of someone that they've loved has passed on, and they continue to have experiences with them. Is that kind of what happened to you?
Yes, like the automatic coffee pot would go on by itself, and lights would flicker, and some light bulbs kept burning out, and I'd hear songs on the radio that meant that had significant meaning to me and that person, and I had seen, felt, and heard that person after they passed. Yeah.
Seen, felt, and heard. Oh my goodness, that's fascinating. Almost reminds me of that really beautiful love story called Ghost. I don't know if you ever saw it. Movie.
It's my favorite picture. I know. It's so much like it. It really, except no violence.
Right.
There's no violence.
Oh my gosh, who is the
Patrick Swayze and Whoopi Goldberg? And
oh my goodness, what a great film that would have been. So this was something that you said seen, felt, and heard.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You want to get into any details there of, in other words, you heard this person talking or talking to you, for instance?
Talking to me, yes.
Wow. Well, and I'll bet whatever he was saying was something significant, was it?
Yes, one to try to save his life, which I couldn't, unfortunately. I was not trained to, and another to open the bedroom window, and that's where he came in and left his imprint on the screen.
Oh my goodness! Oh, that's fascinating. So you were actually kind of prompted to, or heard him say, "Please open the window," or whatever, and then he came into the house through the window, through the screen.
Yes, he did.
Oh my gosh! When he did that, did you feel his presence at that point?
I was sleeping at the time, and I was awakened by, well, you're going to give me, I'm going to give the book away. I felt his touch, and and then the bed shook, like as if he were standing, walking on it, and I could feel me going up and down, but I kept my eyes closed during the whole thing. I didn't know when to look. And,
so at that point, you didn't have any clue it was him, it sounds like.
I had a feeling it was,
okay,
but I wasn't sure, yeah. Well, when he told me to open the window earlier, then I figured, it must be him. But I didn't know for 100%, but I was 90% sure it was him. And then later in the book, it describes where later I figured out how it was him, that I knew it was him.
So there was some kind of confirmation then.
Yeah, I figured out. So he touched me a certain way that I knew it was him. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. I think if I opened my eyes, that I would have just dropped dead and would have joined him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with all the experiences you had, that would have been probably the big one right there for sure. And how long did these experiences, do you think, last with your deceased husband? Was it something that generally waned over periods of time, or what?
Well, okay. It was really intense for the first 6 weeks after he passed. Yes, I married him. Yes, it was my husband. And yes, I had seen him after this experience, and he wearing clothes I've never seen him in before. Not unusual clothes, his style, but still not in this realm. Yeah, like they have a big and tall, in heaven, I guess, because he was 6'5".
Oh, thank God you told me that. That would be good for me to know.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And he had a beard, close to his face. Was that a goatee or something? I don't know what you call that. And he had that, and in this realm, and when I had seen him after, he didn't have it. And I think there was a reason for that, and that's also in the book if you read it.
Oh, fascinating. Those kinds of stories make me believe the details more often, because you would not really think of the fact that someone could change their appearance after death, or their spirit would look different than what you remember them to be. And that makes a whole lot of sense to me, that you would not necessarily be exactly what you look like when you died in spirit form.
Yeah, it's just slightly off. Maybe it's the way that they remember themselves to look like. Right. I don't know.
Could be.
And also in the book, he changed his form completely. I mean, just understand that we're made out of energy, and that energy can transform into any form, any shape or form. And he did. Yeah, that's in the book too. Non-human, but good, but different, way different.
Oh, I see. So he changed his form so drastically.
Yeah.
That you didn't even look human, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it was not a human thing. It was a common thing, but to look at, but not human, but highly unusual. It was just like more so. I wish I could just read the whole book to everybody. Yeah, I know.
Oh, you're doing fine. No, you're just you're kind of like tickling our fancy here with some of these ideas and thoughts, and I think it makes it more intriguing for us to hear these things. Otherwise, we go, well, she wrote a book and it's called Guiding Kathleen, but please go read it. So it's kind of nice to get some of these intriguing details as well.
Yeah, I wrote this book for a reason. When I wrote this book, I didn't want to really write a book again. Remember? No, right. I did not want to be an author. Mm-mm. But because of these things that have happened to me, I have to tell everybody. And while these things were happening to me, I was living with my parents. I moved back in with them, and I was trying to explain to them, but they thought I was kind of crazy, so I didn't mention any of these things to them. But in the book, my father experienced a paranormal. He had a paranormal experience, and he thought, could this really be? This is what I've seen, and could this really be? So here he is, acknowledging the possibility of the paranormal actually happening.
Well, isn't that kind of vindicating sometimes when your loved ones, your parents, your siblings, or whatever, maybe finally come around sometimes and acknowledge what you've been like thinking and trying to tell them your whole life. I've had experiences like that.
Have you?
I have. It's just like, it's one of those things that you're dealing with a family dynamic that has been entrenched for your whole life, and then all of a sudden you realize, at one point they go, oh, well, maybe that is possible. And is that what happened to you at that point?
Well, with my father, yes. It was all throughout the book that, no, they really didn't recognize it, didn't want to, basically. And, they couldn't get a grasp on it. It's like people, I think, that have never had a paranormal experience. They wonder, is that really possible? Is you really telling me the truth? I've never had one. Why not me? Blah, blah. I don't know why not you. I don't know. I don't know why me. I don't know that either. But that's why I wrote this book, to let others know that those who have not had a paranormal experience, that these things, in fact, do exist, and that God and guardian angels really do care about you and love you, and to let them in your life and not to dismiss them when they try to approach you or give you hints or give you a bad feeling in your stomach and that you've done something wrong or you're in a bad situation, something. Just pay attention, please. Yeah. Pay attention to those feelings. Yeah.
As I get older myself, I am being more sensitive to those small nudging